Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is December 8th, 2022, and today is Thursday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, oil breaks key support level below $75 a barrel. Now, first, no major economic events scheduled for today. So as we look at the various markets, starting out with the Forex symbols, the euro looking strong, but beware, because if it does turn, it can turn below that 200-day moving average. And looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ have somewhat of a bounce. We're going to take a look at that. And looking at commodities, gold bounces and oil tanks, as we spoke before. Now looking at stocks, Tesla is on a very key major support level. Now, it did make a split earlier this year, so it's a little bit harder to see on the charts, but I'm going to show you that in just a second. Lastly, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin unchanged. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go with the Euro USD, and you can see it's pretty strong. It's hanging around that resistance-ish level and wants to go higher, which means the Dow Jones is going to have to go lower, which still could be a factor. Okay, so just be aware of that as this could continue happening. Now, there's lots of numbers coming out on the Dow Jones, starting out with tomorrow PPI, then next Tuesday CPI, and then next Wednesday FOMC. So we've got a string of major things coming out of the United States. But first, looking at GBP USD on its support level. Okay, nothing really doing here. Australian dollar also just trading sideways. Now, the Canadian dollar yesterday had a little bit of volatility after that rate decision came out, sold off from 136.90-ish level down to 136.10. Decent move, and then made it right back up. So that's a nice fade opportunity. We get those often, so just be aware of those. You know, it was a little bit hard because it's really chopping. It really happens very fast when these things do happen, but they're there, and there are opportunities like this. Now, jumping into commodities, gold trading at 1783, about a 10-pip move on the upside from yesterday. Nothing to really write home about. Very choppy again, but again, you know, if you want to play these choppiness moves, there are opportunities. Don't get me wrong, but they're there. Now, looking at oil, we're looking at a weekly chart. As you can see up here, that this weekly chart is basically breaking that $75 level. That $75 level is psychologically a very important level. So that means we could breach below $71, and if we breach below that, we could go back to 65 bucks. And during the winter time, this is actually unheard of. Now, this is going back to 2021 when we were trading at levels right after the pandemic. I mean, if we look at a monthly, just give us perspective. Does it go that far back? Yeah, it goes that far back. So, I mean, you know, this is really a very key level. And we look into that on a monthly. That's big, okay? 200-day to the 30-day moving average. If that crossover happens, that's not pretty, okay? So just be aware of it, meaning it could go further down. That's the point. Now, looking at the U.S. markets, looking at the Dow Jones right now, as yesterday, it kind of just traded sideways. Went all the way down to 33,442. We're right now about 200 points above it. Relatively, for the Dow Jones, that's a very tight range, but there's money to be made there, okay? Now, today's going to be a deciding factor whether or not it's going to push up higher or it's going to reluctantly go further down. A key level for it is 33,300-ish level. Between 33,300 to 33,100 is supportish level. That's a very, very important level. So if you see that we do get and break that, we could go back to the 32,400-ish level by next Wednesday. Now, we do have consumer confidence coming out tomorrow. That's a major number. Also, the PPI number coming out tomorrow, which is a producer's price index number, which is an inflationary number, not on the consumer side, but on the production side. So if those numbers come out a little bit disconcerting, we'd see the market's actually selling off. So just be aware of that. Now, looking at the NASDAQ, sold off and dead. Didn't really bounce below it. I'm crossing over its 30-day moving average on a daily chart. That's an important item to really make a note of that. That's really very important. Now, jumping into Tesla. Okay, you can't see this because what happened was, if you remember, back in August, we had a 3-to-1 split. Okay, the stock was trading at $900. It's split three ways, 3-to-1, meaning you had one share of $900. Now you have three shares of $300. So right now we're hitting new lows for the year. And not only that, if we look, okay, where we're hitting new lows, we are about 520-ish level, okay? 520-ish level would put us about right here pre-split, okay? If we never split, we would be somewhere over here, okay? Over here is a really important level. That's one resistance-ish level right there and two support levels right there. And if we do breach that, that means we could go down to $200 potentially, okay? Your next real support level is 378 and then 330, you know, etc., etc., etc. So just be aware of this. If this continues to sell off and there's some movement on the downside, that could still happen. And don't forget, Elon Musk sold a hell of a lot of stocks last month, okay? So that will happen about more than 90 days ago that he had to initiate that sell. So these type of things do affect the markets. Now looking at the rest of the stocks, Apple was down, you know, not down that big, but down, okay? But, you know, just bouncing at that support level. Alcoa is down, but on the support level. Facebook also was down, kind of starting to cross over that 30-day moving average on a 4-hour chart. Not as important as a daily. Okay, so we still have some room there, but did break that 8-day moving average. And especially if we break this on the downside, well, we could hit $84 a share again. So just be aware of it. Microsoft also just traded sideways yesterday. So it could be some selling pressure later today. Amazon still weak and on its down. Okay, also very weak. And lastly, looking at Bitcoin, dead, doing nothing. Okay, so kind of focus on the American markets. I do profess, okay, I'm going to say it. I prophesize that the next couple of days are going to be very volatile and there are going to be a lot of opportunities. This is Fred Razak, and I wish you guys a great trading day.